What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Maths Guy. Today we've got a pretty challenging lesson. We are going to be looking at how to divide a decimal number by a whole number. So let's waste no time and let's begin. In today's lesson we are going to follow these steps. We are first going to divide, then we are going to multiply the groups, then we're going to subtract, and then we're going to pull down to see the next question. And that's because we are going to be looking at long division method today. Question 1 says 34.5 divided by 5. Well, we're going to do exactly what we would normally do, which is put our bus stop in place. And I'm going to put my dividend, which is this number here, the number we're dividing, inside the bus stop, so 34.5. And then I'm going to put my divisor, the 5, on the outside of the bus stop. And then I'm simply going to use the same method I would do with any normal long division, but I've got to remember that this is now a decimal question, so I have this decimal to consider when we get to it. But I'm going to start just like I would before, and I'm going to look at how many groups of 5 there are in 3. So hopefully we'll know that if we have 3 marbles, let's draw them out, we actually can't get any groups of 5 away from, so I'm going to put my answer 0 at the top here. And then to complete the process, I'm going to multiply my groups. Even though I've made no groups, I'm going to do 0 times 5 is obviously 0. And then take that away from my 3, which leaves me, of course, with 3. So I've subtracted, and now all I need to do is pull down the next number, which in this case is the 4. Now what I'm trying to do is look at how many groups of 5 there are in 34. Well, I can go up in my 5 times table, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. But if I go to 35, I've gone too far, so therefore I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups. I put my answer of 6 up at the top, but I now need to work out how many I had left over because we didn't go all the way to 34, we only went to 30. And the way I do that is I'm going to look at my groups that I took away. So that's going to be 6 times 5. And 6 times 5 is 30. Now all I do is subtract that away from my existing number. 34 subtract 30 is 4. And then pull down my next number. But what have we just noticed? I have skipped the decimal. So all I need to remember that if my decimal is on that line there, all I need to do is make sure I put it on the same line in my answer row. So let's do that. I'll put my decimal place up, ready. Now when I pull down the 5, I'm left with 45, and finally I'm looking for how many 5s are there in 45. Well, in my multiplication that gets me to 9, so I have 9 whole groups, and then let's see if there's anything left over by doing 9 times 5. 9 times 5 is 45, therefore leaving me with nothing, and that means I have finished my question. So my answer to 34.5 divided by 5 is 6.9. I'm being very careful to include the decimal place. Let's turn the heat up with an orange chili challenge, and let's look at 91.6 divided by 4. And again, just following the same steps for long division. How many 4s are there in 9? Well, there are 2, but then I need to work out how many groups I've just taken away. So 2 times 4 is 8. 9 subtract my 8 leaves me with 1. Now I pull down my next number, which is also a 1. How many 4s are there in 11? 4, 8, 12 would be too fast, so I have 2 whole groups. And then let's see how many groups I took away. 2 times 4 is 8. 11 subtract 8 leaves me with 3. Pull back my next number, but before I do that I need to put my decimal in place to make sure it's in the same line, and then I'm left with 36. How many 4s are there in 36? 9. So my answer to the orange chili challenge, 22.9. Okay, let's see how hard this can go with our red chili challenge. And I now have 89.45, so 2 numbers after the decimal this time, divided by 3. So let's follow all my steps again, and let's look at how many 3s there are in 8. Well, there are 2 3s. How many groups was that away? 2 times 3 is 6. 8 subtract 6 leaves me with 2. Bring down my 9, 29. How many 3s are there in 29? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. So I could get 9 whole groups. Let's see how many were left over by doing 9 times 3. 9 times 3 is 27. That's a remainder of 2. Now I need to put my decimal because I'm on the decimal line and bring down my 4. Therefore, how many 3s are there in 24? There are 8. So let's see how many groups that was by doing 8 multiplied by the 3. 8 multiplied by 3 is 24. Take that away, obviously leaves me with nothing, but I still have this 5 to deal with. So now I'm going to bring the 5 down, and I'm now looking at how many 3's there are in 5. Well, 3's into 5 go once, and there's 2 left over, because if I do my 1 times 3, that's going to leave me with 3, and I'm going to have 2 left over. Well, what do I do with this 2? I can't just put remainder 2, because I don't want to add a remainder to a decimal question. So what can I do? Well, I can change the number 89.45 by not changing the value, by putting a 0 here at the end. This 0 does not change the value of my number at all, but it now gives me another digit to bring down. When I bring down this 0, my 2 becomes a 20. Now I can look at how many 3's there are in 20, and the answer would be 6. But 6 times 3 is 18. Now when I take away my 18, I'm left with 2 again. Well, if we start to notice what's going to happen here, I'm going to get into a pattern of always being left with 2 and having to bring down a 0, getting 6 whole, but getting 2 left over. So we're going to continue to get these 6's on this row if I was to carry that on, which means that we've got a repetitive number. The way we can represent that is I can just write 2 of them, and I'm going to put these special dots on top of them to show that those numbers are repeated. So my answer to the red chili challenge is 29.8166 recurring or repeated. A bit more challenging, right? Okay, now it's your turn. There are 3 challenges here, a green, an orange and a red chili challenge. Some of these are really going to test you. Press pause on the video now and take your time. Good luck. There you have it. That is how to divide a decimal by a whole number. Hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, head on over to themathshelter.com where you're going to find loads more videos like this to help you with everything you need to know about your year group's maths. But for now, guys, I'm going to see you in another video. Peace out.